You guys, welcome to Sick of Pricks, a type 2 diabetes podcast. I'm Mary, your diabetes bestie. Today we're talking about something every single one of us with type 2 diabetes has faced. When checking your blood sugar feels like one more exhausting thing on an already overloaded plate. And that feeling, that's not laziness, it's not weakness, it's called burnout. And it happens when the constant effort of managing diabetes wears you down mentally, emotionally, and physically until even the smallest tasks feel overwhelming. Burnout isn't about you giving up. Burnout is what happens when you've been showing up for too long without enough breathing room. Today we're diving into what diabetes burnout actually looks like, why it sneaks up even when you feel like you're doing everything right, and how you can pull yourself out without needing a full personality transplant. Because spoiler alert, burnout doesn't make you bad at diabetes. It makes you human. Now let's get into it. What does diabetes burnout actually look like? So let's call burnout exactly what it is. It's sneaky. It's that slow fade from I've got this to I don't even care anymore, diabetes is whatever. Here's what it can look like. Skipping blood sugar checks because you forgot, but really you just didn't want to know. Have you ever done that? Oh, I forgot to check. I was so busy. The day got away from me. I didn't forget. It takes like 30 seconds. Okay. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to see the number because maybe I was quote unquote, bad last night and I didn't want to see my number this morning. It's avoiding medications because opening the bottle feels like pushing a boulder up a mountain. I'm about to confess something that is absolutely embarrassing, but maybe you've been in this spot before, so I'm sharing anyway. Sometimes when my pill box is empty, I don't take my medicine until later in the day because the thought of opening the bottles and filling the case back up feels exhausting. And I know that sounds so silly, but it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a constant reminder of you are a sick person and you have to take this medicine. And sometimes I just don't feel like doing it. Have you ever felt like that? Just me? Yeah? Okay, let's move on then. Have you ever canceled or rescheduled doctor's appointments because you're dreading bad news or the judgment or the lecture? You know the lecture I'm talking about. So I remember years ago, I texted my doctor and said, hey, I'm still going to come to my appointment, but I'm not going to go get blood work because I know it's going to be bad. And she was like, no, you need to go get your blood work done. And I remember being like, fine, and rolling my eyes and having a little private temper tantrum because I didn't want to. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see the reality in black and white, And that should have been a clue for me that I was in this burnout mode. It can also look like eating whatever's easiest because you don't have the mental bandwidth to make the healthier choice. And it sometimes feels like diabetes is this endless group project, the ones that we had to do like in high school. And you're the only one doing the work. That's exactly what it was like, by the way. Except with diabetes management, you don't get a grade at the end, and the due date is literally for the rest of your life. So how's that for real talk? There was a stretch for me, not even that long ago, where I didn't check my blood sugar for 3 straight days. My Dexcom sensor expired, and I did not replace it immediately like I usually do. But not because I didn't care about myself, not because I didn't know better, but because the idea of seeing a number that might disappoint me was just too much. It was too heavy. And sometimes being so connected to the technology feels overwhelming. The constant information, the beeps, the alarms, it can make you crazy. So if you felt that, and I'm guessing if you're listening to a podcast about type 2 diabetes, you have. You're not broken. You're normal and you're tired. So why does burnout happen and why does this sneak up on us? First, chronic stress drains you. When you live with diabetes, you're constantly low-key problem solving. Food choices, movement, meds, hydration, sleep, blood sugar checks, mood swings. Even when you feel off, you're on. It's relentless. In a former life, I taught fourth and fifth grade, and I had to teach these kids to get ready for the science fair, like the scientific method, your title and your hypothesis and your method and your variables and your controls and the results, all of those things, right? I look at my diabetes management like a science fair project. So my hypothesis is always wrong. There's what seems like 1,000 variables. The results don't make any sense. There's no controls. That's what it feels like sometimes anyway, right? It's relentless. Second, we have this perfection pressure that we put either on ourselves or we feel it from our doctors or our family. There's this silent standard that says you're supposed to be good at diabetes. What does that even mean, to be good at diabetes? There's no trophy, there's no perfect score, but the pressure we feel is real. Third, there's no instant gratification. You could have the healthiest breakfast of your life and still get a blood sugar that's like, nice try, loser. And sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. You could have the same thing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and get different reactions from your body every time. And finally, it's emotionally exhausting. Every check-in feels like a test, like a grade, like a reminder that no matter what you do, diabetes still gets a say. It's not you being weak, it's you being worn out from carrying too much for too long. How do we know that we're sliding into burnout mode? Here's how to spot it creeping in. You mean to check, but your whole day disappears. Your meter starts gathering dust, like you don't even know where it is anymore. You find yourself dreading doctor's appointments or deleting reminders or calendar invites. And then you hear that little voice, the one that whispers to you, why bother? And that voice, it's burnout talking. It's not the truth. It's the tired, overwhelmed, overstressed part of you that's like waving a little white flag. But real talk, guys, there's a difference between I don't care and I'm too tired to care right now. A huge difference. And one deserves a little grace, not guilt. So what do we do about it? You've realized you're in burnout mode. You're not checking your numbers, your motivation's non-existent, and even the basic stuff feels like running a marathon. So what do you do now? How do you actually start climbing out of this hole? I'm going to walk you through 6 things that have helped me shift from I give up to I've got this, kind of. Step 1, start with one non-negotiable. And I'm talking pick the lowest bar possible. Seriously, lowest. And make it your one daily non-negotiable, okay? Some examples. I'll check my blood sugar once before bed. I will take my meds with my morning coffee. I will drink a glass of water after every bathroom break. That's it. It doesn't need to be impressive. It needs to be doable and something that you can do consistently. You build momentum by showing up in small ways, not perfect ones. And once you do it for a few days, that thing starts to feel normal. And feeling normal feels powerful. Step 2, create a burnout recovery toolkit. Yeah, a toolkit, not with like hammers and duct tape. I mean, if that helps you, you do you, boo. Okay? But with actual resources that support your mental, emotional, and physical energy. Here's what you need to include in your toolbox. A list of easy meals and snacks that don't spike your blood sugar or your stress. A note to yourself, a little pep talk, saying you felt this before and you've gotten through it, you've got this. a playlist that gets your energy up and also boosts your mood, and a friend or accountability buddy you can text just to say, hey, I checked my blood sugar once today, so they can clap for you. Make it easy to restart when you're running on fumes. Step 3. This is an important one. Audit your energy leaks. Burnout isn't always about diabetes. Sometimes it's everything else that's draining you until there's nothing left for self-care. Like when life is really lifing, ask yourself, where am I spending energy that doesn't serve me? What or who am I tolerating that's weighing me down? And am I saying yes to everything except myself? Start plugging those leaks. Say no, set boundaries, and give yourself permission to put your energy where it matters. You. Step 4, rethink progress, because it's not just about the numbers. When you're in burnout, don't measure your success by your blood sugar. Instead, measure things like, I paid attention to how I felt after a meal. I got curious instead of critical. I checked in with my body, not just my meter. I didn't ghost my care plan. I just paused. Because progress isn't just about lower numbers. Sometimes it's just not quitting. Step 5, reconnect with your why. This is a big one. When we're burned out, we lose touch with why we're even trying in the first place. And your why doesn't have to be some deep poetic thing. It could be, I want to have energy for my grandkids. I want to dance at my kid's wedding without needing a chair break. I want to feel like I'm in charge of my life again. Once you have your why identified and you've reconnected, write it down. Put it somewhere that you're going to see it when burnout brain kicks in. Sometimes we don't need more motivation. We just need to remember what all of this is for. Step 6, treat yourself like a friend, not a failure. Seriously, guys, if your best friend told you they were feeling this way, would you say, wow, you really suck at diabetes? Of course not. You'd say, hey, I know you're dealing with a lot. I'm proud of you for showing up at all. I want you to talk to yourself that way. Your self-talk can either push you deeper into burnout or gently pull you out. Choose to be gentle with yourself. And no, this isn't about turning into a unicorn who drinks green smoothies and journals by moonlight. This is about building tiny, human, doable routines, even when your motivation takes a hike. So let's recap. If you're in burnout mode, your first job isn't to be perfect. It's to be gentle. It's to take the smallest possible action and call that enough for today, because it is enough. You are not a failure. You are not lazy. You are a whole damn human being managing an unpaid full-time extra job you didn't sign up for. So pick one small step today. Check once, text a friend, drink some water, and then celebrate the heck out of the fact that you showed up. That's how you come back from burnout. All right, friends, that's it for today's episode of Sick of Pricks. If you've been in burnout mode lately, or if you've taken a tiny step this week that deserves a parade, DM me. I want to hear all about it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.